My name is Jeanie Smith Murphy, and I live in Fargo, North Dakota, and I lost my brother, Bob Harris, to COVID in December 11th, 2020. Bob Harris was a radio personality at KFGO. He worked there for 40 years. I'm his baby sister. He was the oldest. We are the only two siblings left in Fargo, and so we became pretty close. We spent a lot of time together. He was the family historian, I would say. He knew who everybody was. He kept in touch with everyone. He was the one that would remember people's birthdays. If he saw something that reminded him of somebody, he would take a picture of it and say, "Yeah, I thought of you." And Bob had a radio show on KFGO in the evenings called The Harris Happening, and he would interview a lot of local musicians, authors. He also was part of a lot of benefits too. He also has just a ton of people that he meant a lot to, and people that I didn't know before, really know about before he passed away, but who have reached out, and he had a big impact on their lives too. In mid-November, he wasn't feeling well, and so he decided to stay home from work. He went and got a COVID test because he'd had a cough. His 65th birthday was on November 23rd, and that was the day he found out that he was positive for COVID. That was 2 days before Thanksgiving. We did a Zoom call with our family, and he had called me and said he just wasn't feeling well enough to be on the call. I could tell that he was out of breath, and later on I got a text from him that said that he was having a hard time standing up, and he couldn't walk to the bathroom without falling into the walls. And I said, "Call 911," which he did. They took him to Sanford, and so he was admitted on Thanksgiving of 2020. He was really tired. It was difficult for him to talk. They had him on oxygen. He was sleeping quite a bit, which is another symptom, is that just the fatigue. Then on that following Saturday, I got a call from the doctor on duty that day, and he told me that he had taken, somehow his BiPAP had gone off of him, and because of lack of oxygen, he had gone into cardiac arrest. They brought him back, they intubated him, and then he went into cardiac arrest again. And after that, he was intubated. They kept him in a medical coma, and they also cooled his body down to try to prevent further damage. But then he was just unable to come out of the coma. They did some scans and said that he would never be the person that he was before. So we decided as a family to let him go. We had to say goodbye via Zoom. That's got to be one of the hardest parts of all that, is we weren't able to be there to tell him how much we loved him. And to be able to say goodbye, we had to do it over a computer. So the next day, we asked that we would wait a day. So that Friday morning, December 11th, he was extubated and eventually passed away a few hours later. Bob has a son who's disabled, who lives in Moorhead, and his son was the light of his life. He was so devoted to him, and now there's just a big hole left in that kid's heart. There's only just so much that the rest of us can do to fill that hole, because there's nothing like the love of a father for a son. When we talked about having the funeral or memorial service, we didn't feel that it would be safe, so we decided to wait until the vaccine was out and we could all be vaccinated. And we had it in May. All of the family was vaccinated, so that we felt like we could meet safely. It's sad because he for sure would have gotten that vaccine. If it could have just been a little while longer, maybe he wouldn't have gotten so sick, and he would still be here with us. I think it's very important that people get vaccinated. I'm not the only person who's lost a family member. I have several friends who've also lost siblings, parents. It's hard on all of us. It's hard for anyone. When you lose someone to COVID, and you can't be there with them, and you have to say goodbye over Zoom. And it's a terrible way. It's a terrible way to die. You're basically suffocating. If you can prevent another family from having to go through a loved one's death or having someone get severely ill, it's worth it. Get the vaccine.